Hey guys, how's it going? So it's my month 1 Mandarin update. So I apologize in advance that I haven't prepared any notes for this. I'm just gonna do this off the fly because I don't really have that much time. So what my goals from last month basically was I was going to go through dialogue every day of this book. Yeah, then the idea was there's 30 dialogues, so in roughly 30 days I should be able to complete it. So on the day of recording this video, it's now the 29th of May 2019, so I've finished it today, which is a day ahead of plans. I mean, I was bored one day, so I kind of went ahead and did another one, because I had more free time on the weekend, so yeah, so I did that a day early. And the other thing I said I was going to do was I was going to just keep on. I had an Anki deck pre-made for this already, and because I've already been through it once, this was just refreshing, so I was perfectly happy just to review the reps on Anki on the tram, see how far through the book I got. I've completed it, so that's done out the way. So what are my goals for next month? So as I said, the series by NT and University has a big series, 6 books. By the end of the 6th book, you're supposed to be roughly a C1 level, which I'm not going to go into that today, but I'm going to go through the 2nd book of that series. And what's interesting to note is the opinion was attached in a lot of the dialogue. So they had the dialogue and the characters and a dialogue and opinion in book 1. In book 2, it's a dialogue and a reading section, and there's no opinion apart from the vocabulary list. So it's trying to encourage people already at quite an early stage to get used to reading without the opinion. Which is quite funny for me, I guess, because characters I don't have any problem with coming from Cantonese, but the opinion I forget. So, say if I tried to someone text me, I went to just text "Jia Yao," something like that, and I couldn't remember what the opinion was. I kind of know what it sounds like roughly in my head, but I couldn't remember what the opinion was, so I just switched the keyboard to Cantonese and used the Yuping to type it, which is quite funny. But yeah, so basically the same thing again. I'm going to go through one dialogue / reading section a month. They come with audio, so I'm going to basically be treating it exactly the same as before. So there's 30 days of that total, and there's 30 days in June, so I'm going to go try and do that. I think this may be harder than last month's purely because I'm going to Glastonbury for about 5 days. So I'm not going to be able to, well, I might be able to, but I'm not going to take my textbook there because I'll probably, I don't want to get it lost or just be sitting there with a Chinese textbook in the middle of Glastonbury. That's who does that, right? So I'll probably be I might look for some pre-made decks or something, I don't know yet, or just kind of create a big backlog of flashcards that I can kind of review on there and just try to rep sentences and I guess listen to stuff, download loads of stuff on Netflix and try to do it that way. But I won't be doing too much active over that time, obviously. So that's probably going to eat away into some of the 30 days, which might mean I overshoot this one. And then that would cut into some of my time to go through Remembering the Hanzi too, because I'm going to give myself 2 months to go through the second Remembering the Hanzi after that, right? Which is this one here. Roughly 1,500 characters. I think it's a little bit more. Something like 55 lessons. If I go through a lesson a day, then that should be 2 months with some days to spare. But as I said, I'm probably going to fall behind this month because of Glastonbury. So in kind of because I've been kind of foreshadowing that, I've gone ahead and done a few lessons of this already. Some of the very first ones are very short, only a few characters. I think I've done the first 5 lessons of this. And to be honest, I'm being really lazy with stories. Well, for some of them I'm putting in the time and making a proper story, but some of them I'm finding I don't need to because I have quite a background already listening and reading Chinese when I was in the Cantonese context. I kind of get an appreciation of how they work, I guess. So for now, at least, I'm finding it a lot easier to remember the characters by looking at why the character's written that way as opposed to making up my own story. So let me just give you an example here and bring up some of the cards on Anki. So here you go, I've just scrolled down and this is a good example here of this character. So if I click on the preview field, so you can see here, this is the pronunciation for this character here. Father's sister, it's got woman on the left and ancient on the right, we know that ancient is pronounced like this. So the right's the sound of the character, and the left is the meaning. I think I actually really like putting the pinyin on the front, because if you're used to reading a lot of Chinese, especially I've read a lot before with Cantonese, so when I'm coming to this, I find instead of coming up with some story, I think I actually find it easier to remember by looking at the sound radical and identifying which one it is, and then you can actually know why the character's written that way. And I think that's kind of cool, because instead of a artificial story, you're learning more about the actual history of the characters and why they were written that way in the first place. So I've been pretty lazy with the stories and doing that for most of them when it's applicable. If not, then it's usually a meaning component, which means it probably shouldn't be too hard to make up a story anyway. But yeah, so that's it, a bit 1 month update. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about immersion. I watched a few, so most of my immersion time so far has basically been watching Chinese shows on Netflix with Chinese subtitles, because I can kind of, although when I was learning Cantonese I only read in Cantonese, I still know most of the characters that are coming up on the subtitles still, apart from just its Mandarin grammar. So even though because I'm not used to the grammar, and probably I read Chinese relatively slowly compared to English at least, I'm finding it hard to process and keep up with everything and read at the same time and try to link it up with the words at the same speed as they're saying. But at least by doing that, I'm able to kind of pick up the gist of it and at least understand enough to enjoy the TV shows. So I watched My Fate's Wife, which was good. It's actually quite good for the most part. The ending was a little bit shitty, but I'm not going to go into that too much. So I've just started a new drama again, and I have been experimenting with some other stuff. I tried watching a few anime dubbed in Mandarin, but again, I find like vast majority goes over my head with that. So at least for the early stages, because the most important thing for now is to try and make immersing fun and to increase my vocabulary, and that those two things are more important than listening comprehension at this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the subtitles on for the majority of things I watch, but every now and again I'm still watching a few anime with the subtitles off. Then hopefully a few months down the line maybe I can kick the subtitles, or try to mix it up a bit more and try to shift the percentage more in the favour of raw listening. I don't know. We'll see how these things go, but I've always got to take these things as they progress. So yeah, I think that's more or less everything I wanted to say. All in all, it's been quite a productive first month. I finished my first textbook, finished the first HiSub book. So the main goals for the next 3 months to come are the book 2 in the NTNU series, which is my goal for this coming month of June, and also to finish Remembering the Hanzi 2. I've started this a little bit already, so hopefully I can do all of those in the next 3 months before I go to Taiwan, and then when I get there, it'll just be a case of immersing and watching as much stuff and reading as much stuff as I can. Probably a little bit of work on Link maybe, or with intensive dialogues but with native material, and maybe mining a few sentences as well. I don't know. I'm going to keep you posted as I get on. So yeah, what was your goals for May? What are your goals for June? I always like to hear about what you guys are doing, so please give me a comment in the comment section below and tell me what you guys are up to. That's it for today's video. I will see you in the next one. Peace.